Hello, and welcome to Soothing Pod Sleep Stories. My name is Arif, and tonight I will be your guide as we embark on a journey to ancient Greece, where we will follow the fair, beautiful goddess of love, Aphrodite, as she makes her way through a world of magic to find a love of her own. Before we begin, however, let us take a moment to unwind and find peace and comfort in the place that we are in, here and now. Close your eyes and allow your body to sink into whatever surface you are laying on. Allow yourself to sink into it and feel the genuine comfort that comes from simply letting your body rest. With your eyes closed and your body relaxing more and more with every moment, I'd like you to imagine something with me. You are laying beneath a beautiful ancient apple tree in a field flourishing with sweet grass and wildflowers as far as the eye can see. It is late summer, and the air smells of the autumn that is just on the horizon. The grass is golden, and the branches above your head are heavy with fresh, ripe apples. And yet, you can still hear the buzzing of nature all around you. Crickets and cicadas singing their melody into the afternoon air, and blue jays and robins chirping as they flit about the branches overhead. You can just feel the warmth of the sun peeking through the branches. As you breathe in, a branch waves in the wind, allowing a ray of sun to paint your face in a warm, golden light. In that warmth, you feel your jaw unclench, your shoulders fall away from your ears, and your tongue drop from its tense spot pressed against the roof of your mouth. Any thoughts that have been stewing in your head are unwound like a ball of twine, leaving you with a quiet, manageable mind. Slowly, the branches sway again, illuminating your chest and arms in the soft rays of light. With the touch of that warmth, you feel pressure melting away. Any tension you've been carrying in your arms disappears, and your hands slowly unfurl into a comfortable, relaxed position. Your shoulders fully sink into the soft surface beneath you. Any pressure or tension that you've been feeling in your chest is unwound, leaving you feeling lighter than ever. Then, slowly, the light beams down on your torso and legs. You can still hear the rustle of the leaves overhead, and the warmth of the sun on your legs only makes the experience more otherworldly. The weight of your legs and feet are no longer yours to carry. They seem to sink deeper and deeper into the surface below you, relaxing until they are in a state of utter comfort. With your body renewed and your mind being wiped clean of the days around you, you simply lay in the sunshine for quite some time. The aroma of the sweet apples dance around you, and the symphony of the leaves and grasses create an atmosphere that you never want to leave. With your eyes still closed and your body growing more and more relaxed by the second, let us journey to ancient Greece, where our story begins in breathtaking coastal waters. It was early in the age of creation. The world, as expansive and wild as it was new and fresh, with caves, coastlines, and forests to be explored. A great war had been waged between the Titans and the gods, and in the end, the gods prevailed. In their great battle, the Titan Uranus was cast into the warm, beautiful waters off the coast of Cyprus. The cerulean waters churned against the coast, a mosaic of blue and white, mixed with effervescent foam that seemed to sparkle in whatever rays of light were cast down upon it. It was during a stormy day on the coast that locals gazed out in time to see something strange in their familiar waters. A golden light radiated from beneath the waves, making the whole of the ocean glow in an otherworldly shade. It was magic, they knew that much, but none of them could anticipate the true depth of what, or rather who, was about to emerge from their very sea. At first, all Aphrodite could see was the pillars of light spiraling down, down, down through the ocean waves, painting the sea floor in all manner of shadows and light. The sky was gray overhead, but to Aphrodite, it was the most beautiful thing she had ever seen. They were plumes of gray and black and stone, layered on top of each other like pieces of fluffy cotton laid out on a mat of blue. She came into being all at once, unlike most. The thick sea foam frothing at the base of a rock just offshore was her birthplace, the spot where she sprung forth from the ocean against all odds. She was from Uranus, the most powerful Titan of all, and his power would not be lost on her. For when she rose up from the gathering sea foam, her form took the breath away from anyone who saw her. The curves of her body were like the canyons and valleys of the most fruitful vineyards, tucked back far in the mountains where few got to witness the true treasure that they were. Her warm eyes radiated kindness and wisdom far beyond that of any mortal, and simply glancing into them would strike the heart of anyone who passed with longing. She was, without a doubt, the most beautiful being who had stepped foot onto the earth. And as she took her first step into the golden sand off the coast of Cyprus, she knew that she had finally arrived home after an eternity swirling in the unknown. The cliffs seemed to reach for those cloudy skies, nearly brushing against them with plumes of olive trees. The air smelled both fresh and wild. There was the briskness of the ocean, and at the same time, the homey scent of wood fires crackling and olives being pressed for oil in people's yards. She inhaled the scent deeply and found herself growing more and more comfortable with the bountiful world that she had been dropped into. Aphrodite was a goddess, and upon seeing her, everyone knew what she was the goddess of: beauty and love. A nearby woman cloaked her naked body in silk cloths upon her arrival, welcoming her to this brand new world. There was much for Aphrodite to see, and as the goddess of love, there was much, much out there for her to embrace. And though Aphrodite was a goddess, undoubtedly destined to sit upon a throne at Olympus with the others, she had no intentions to do so soon into her life. She decided that she would establish her life along these bright, breathtaking coastlines while she adjusted to what being alive truly meant for herself. And for quite some time, life was divine. She would awaken in the morning to the sound of the waves brushing against the edge of the sand. The steady rhythm of the waves would lull her back to sleep most mornings, but occasionally she would be able to resist. She'd open her amber eyes to gaze out upon the sea before her, and every morning it would utterly take her breath away. The way the sun painted the ocean in a mosaic of colors of orange, red, and pink, each one somehow more beautiful than the last. She would often lay there in her comfortable bed of fronds and cloth, gazing out over the water with hope in her mind and in her heart. There was no place that made her feel more at home than the ocean, and with every passing day, that feeling only grew. After she awakened in the mornings, she would generally take her time walking along the edge of the water. She would pick up every shell she managed to stumble across and turn them over in her hands to lovingly admire them. The ocean always seemed to give the best gifts to those who were patient and kind, though Aphrodite had no way of knowing that her greatest gift was yet to come. After gathering seashells, she would make her way to the local town. She was a spectacle of sorts there. In order to not distract everyone who laid eyes on her, she would often drape her hair in cloth, hiding her appearance as much as she could, while still feeling the warmth of the sun on her face. Some days it would work better than others, and yet, even when it didn't work, she was treated with the utmost kindness by the people of her fair town. She would go to the local market and gather whatever ingredients she wanted for her oceanside cooking that night. The merchants in their booths would often offer her breakfast or lunch for free, and some mornings she would oblige. She was a divine cook herself, and yet there was something magical about eating someone else's cooking. She swore she could feel the love and care infused in every bite that she took. As time went on, that longing seemed to pull heavier on her. When she saw lovers in town, doting on each other and laughing with one another, she craved companionship, like the companionship that they had together. Being born from the foam of the sea, she wasn't quite a townsperson, and yet, having not taken a seat on Mount Olympus with the gods, she was not quite a goddess yet either. She was floating in between worlds with no one to share it with. That is, until one morning in the early weeks of summer. Like most mornings, she awakened to the sight of the sun rising up over the waves. She sat on the edge of her sleeping mat and watched in awe as the sun drifted up over the waves. Slowly, she bit into a ripe fig, savoring the sparkling flavor as it made its way over her lips and tongue. There was something especially promising about this morning, and it wasn't lost on Aphrodite in the slightest. As the sun crested up into the sky, Aphrodite rose to her feet. She wrapped herself a bit tighter in her silk robe, still shaking off the chill of the cool night air on the ocean. She watched as her dainty feet sunk into the sand, leaving a map of her travels chiseled from one end of the beach to the other. Gently, she picked up every beautiful shell that she came in contact with. Each one seemed more vibrant and beautiful than the last. And then she spotted a peculiar shell up ahead. It seemed to glow an iridescent blue and pink, shifting its sheen with every new ray of light that fell upon it. Her footsteps quickened as she made her way to the shell, eager to feel the smoothness of it in her palm. But just as her fingers were about to brush against it, someone else reached up to grab the shell. Aphrodite gasped and recoiled, nearly falling on her back in the sand. But the stranger reached out, taking her hand in his and reassuringly telling her that he wasn't going to let her fall. Aphrodite looked up to see who this man was, and as she did, she felt love strike her heart for the very first time. The man before her was coming from the waves, leaning up out of them like he was a god himself. His brown hair fell in perfect coils just above his eyebrows. Each one was drenched in seawater, and yet they retained their curls beautifully. Though his features were dark, cloaked in an air of debonair mystery, his eyes were as blue as the sea around him, almost as if they were part of it themselves. For a moment, Aphrodite was breathless. Then she managed to tell the stranger thank you. The two took a seat in the sand, each trying to catch their breath from the surprise encounter. The man picked up the beautiful shell and placed it in Aphrodite's palm with a warm smile. "I believe this belongs to you now," he purred. Aphrodite tucked her beautiful locks behind her ear and gathered the shell in both of her hands to get a closer look at it. To say it was breathtaking would be an understatement. It was like staring at the whole ocean in the palm of her hand. She thanked the stranger again, then coyly asked for his name. He introduced himself as Narrators, a sea deity who Aphrodite had heard whispers of in the nearby town. People seemed to love Narrators, lust for him even, but he was as elusive as a rainy day when you're praying for one. His eyes had a kindness and magic to them that Aphrodite had only seen in her own reflection. She smiled at Narrators and softly placed her hand in his own. His hands were unbelievably smooth and gentle, like rocks polished soft by the ocean, wearing on them day after day. Before she could introduce herself, Narrators chimed, "You must be Aphrodite, aren't you? The goddess who emerged from the sea." He said the words as if he was speaking about a fairy tale he had been told since he was a child. Aphrodite smiled. The instant that Narrators saw her smile, he knew he was in trouble. Her beauty, which was already radiant and all-consuming, now felt inescapable. He was drawn to her like the very waves that pulled him to the shoreline. The two walked along the beach together, talking about all manner of things. Sometimes they chatted about the weather. Other times they chatted about the beauty of the ocean and why they felt so drawn to it. Narrators asked Aphrodite if she was going to go to Mount Olympus with all the other gods and goddesses. But Aphrodite answered with a playful smile and a shrug of her shoulders, "I see no reason to go to Mount Olympus yet. Besides, there is so much beauty and life to explore down here." From then on, the two were inseparable. Many nights, Narrators would emerge from the waves to find Aphrodite in her makeshift home, warming herself at the edge of a fire. He would wrap his arms around her, comforting her and rocking her gently side to side as she drifted closer and closer to sleep. It was his favorite part of the day, every single day, and she felt the same. In his arms, she felt safe and appreciated in a way that she never had before. It was only in his touch that she realized how lonely she had truly been for quite some time. And she didn't feel that Narrators worshipped her for just the beauty of her body either. There was a softness and poetic nature to him that she found herself sinking into more and more every day. He often spoke of the things he liked about Aphrodite, and it was rarely focused on her appearance. He spoke of the way she made him laugh, of her appreciation for all things beautiful, of her gentleness and, when needed, her fierceness. She felt seen by Narrators, especially in those long hours by the seashore, long after the sun went down beyond the ocean blue. Their romance blossomed throughout the summer. They spent most mornings walking along the shore, picking up every beautiful seashell they could find so that Aphrodite could spirit them away to her house, where they adorned all of her shelves, creating a magical atmosphere. Their love was true, but things were far from perfect. When Nerites introduced Aphrodite to her family, his brothers, sisters, and parents, she wasn't particularly well liked. Nerites' family was tight-knit, but their feelings regarding the gods and goddesses that sat atop Mount Olympus were strained. The power of Aphrodite made them fearful, and in turn, they weren't particularly welcoming to Nerites' new love interest. It was a sting for Aphrodite, who wanted nothing but a family of her own to feel at home with. To her, it was becoming increasingly clear that the only home and family she would find would be on Mount Olympus, especially if Nerites' family continued to be unaccepting. She swallowed the thought, accepting that this is the way it was destined to be. But everything changed when Zeus came to her one day. Sitting along the seashore, his shadow cast over her, and instantly she could feel the god's power. He spoke to her with uncharacteristic kindness, telling her that she belonged on Mount Olympus with her family. She was a goddess, and without her, they were not whole. The feeling of belonging was strong with Aphrodite, and suddenly, something clicked within her. She wanted to go to Mount Olympus, to feel loved and accepted. But when she invited Nerites to join her, his reaction was not at all what she had been hoping. She dreamt of a life where they were united in power together. But Nerites had no desire for that. Instead, he wanted to stay with his family. Aphrodite begged Nerites to join her, promising that he would be able to return and see his family whenever he longed for them. But Nerites had no desire to go to Mount Olympus with her. Aphrodite was devastated. With that, she left her first love behind. It was a powerful lesson for Aphrodite, one that would remain with her all of her life. Her journey in romance was far from over, and there was much love to come in her life. In fact, without Nerites, she would have been lost when she encountered Ares for the very first time. Aphrodite's arrival on Mount Olympus was not without controversy and chit-chat. As the goddess of beauty, many deities were jealous of her. However, Aphrodite paid them no mind. After being lonely for so long, the only thing she truly wanted was companionship, and to enjoy the comfort of having family and friends who understood her power. Mount Olympus was the most beautiful place on earth, though she sometimes longed for the sprawling beaches of Cyprus. But in her heart, she knew Olympus is where she belonged. There were groves of fruitful trees as far as the eye could see, and buildings of marble and gold sprouted from the earth, as if the earth had been built around them. It was on Mount Olympus where Aphrodite encountered her second love. On the battlefield one day, Aphrodite caught sight of Ares, the god of war. From the moment she laid eyes on him, she felt a spark ignite deep inside her. There was an edge to Ares, a toughness that she knew few people could crack. And yet, when her eyes met his, she saw his facade fade away like a cliffside crumbling into the waves of the sea. There was a softness to this man, to this god of war, and in an instant, she knew that she needed to see more of it. While Ares and Eros taunted one another about their weapons, Aphrodite floated nearby, smiling to herself as she nonchalantly made her way through one of the many orchards near Mount Olympus. When the battle was finally over, she heard heavy footsteps making their way through the orchard. Without looking up, she knew who it was. Did you win your battle, Ares? Or did Eros prove to be quite a match? She chimed the words without turning to meet his eye. She could hear Ares stop in his tracks behind her, then chuckle, almost as if he was caught off guard. After all, many viewed Aphrodite as beautiful, but few knew the beauty and tact of her mind. I couldn't lose a battle with someone as divine as you looking on, could I? That simply wouldn't do. His answer made her heart leap in her chest. She finally turned to him, and once more, there it was, that facade melting away, and the gentleness of Ares radiating from his soul once more. To many, Ares was arrogant, conceited, cold even. But just by looking at him, Aphrodite knew that he was so much more than that. The two made their way through the orchard, plucking apples from the trees in an attempt to see who could pick the largest. Ares was known for never losing a battle, nor a simple contest. And yet, somehow, Aphrodite managed to pluck the largest apple every single time. She smirked knowingly every time she came out on top, and Ares would simply sigh with a lovesick look in his eyes and coyly chime, "My, you must have some luck, Aphrodite." They began joining each other in the orchard every single day. No matter what Ares was wanted for, his afternoons in the orchard with Aphrodite took precedent. He found himself looking forward to his time with Aphrodite, unlike anything else. Seeing her smile made his heart sing, and every time she laughed or outwitted him, he could feel the warmth of her mind. They talked about all manner of things, and Aphrodite had a way of unfurling him that no one else did. For long hours, they would lay in the grass and bare their souls to one another. Aphrodite spoke of her loneliness, of the objectification she faced as the goddess of beauty, and of her desire to write her own destiny with her family close by. When she spoke of her struggles, Ares would take her by the hand and slowly rub the back of her palm, gazing at her with intent understanding. To the Greek gods, he was known for his courage, for his bloodlust, for the strength of his body. But with Aphrodite, none of that mattered. She cared for his heart, not his body or his mind. She had no desire for battle, and, in a way, she brought out that calm, neglected side in him. Often, Ares would wrap his strong arms around Aphrodite and nap with her in the sunshine at the base of their favorite tree. Sometimes, he would even mindlessly braid and comb Aphrodite's hair as they talked. Seeing such a softness in him made Aphrodite melt, and with each passing day, she found herself loving him even more deeply. With Aphrodite, Ares could be his true self, not the version of himself built to please the gods. For so long, the battlefield had been the only home he had known. But the lazy afternoons with Aphrodite under the apple trees were even more fulfilling. Many days, Aphrodite would kiss his cheeks and play with his hair, running her fingers through his plush curls as they chatted about poetry. Aphrodite had a fondness for art that Ares had never taken a liking to, and yet, hearing poetry tumble from her lips made him love it for the very first time. The two were well aware of how Mount Olympus was run. Marriage was rarely marriage of love, especially with Zeus in control. Aphrodite knew that no matter who she became betrothed to, no matter what marriage she was thrust into, Ares would be her forever love and her true love. In the garden, they would talk about this for hours on end. They would braid rings for one another, vowing to always carry their intense love for each other. No matter what chaos or madness the Greek gods brought, they found peace and comfort in each other. Ares would never break Aphrodite's heart, and Aphrodite vowed to do the same. For all of eternity, they were bound to one another, and it was a beautiful thing. I hope you have enjoyed this sleep story and that it has brought a night of peaceful, restful sleep. Please join me again tomorrow night for another sleep story. Until then, sweet dreams.